Welcome to another on the bench tying demonstration with Brent Schlenker. Good to have you join us today. Brent will be tying up a fly every lake angler needs in their fly box. This little innocent-looking bug can be some of the best late-season angling you may experience. We will be using a scud hook in size 10. These 10 turns of .20 lead on mid-shank. The thread is 6 out of 0 rusty brown. The tag is copper mylar. The body is a peacock hurl rope with some black crystal flash. The collar is small brown dry fly saddle. Let's go to the vise with Brent.
Good day, and I'm glad you tuned in this video we have here for you today, folks. It's definitely, we heard the term so many times, here's one you need in your fly box, and I'll tell you, this is one of the flies we'll be talking about for sure. It's the snail. Now, there is very, very few lake anglers, including myself. Many years ago, I was guiding a fellow on one of my lakes, trophy lakes, and we were struggling. Everybody was struggling, and this gentleman was over on the rocks, and he was one after another. I went over to see what he was doing. He said they're on snails, and I said, and I never really. That was my first experience with him there. So I'm sitting there with a dumb look on my face. I don't have a snail in my fly box to save my soul. And so he showed me his pattern, and I definitely went home and wrapped some up. But this simple little fly here is something you got to have. I know I was just on the social media the other day, and I caught some people chatting about that exact thing. They said there were some lakes this fall over in BC, and they were just struck. Well, they couldn't get anything caught. That's just as bad as it can get. So they were on snails. Some guys had a fish they killed or whatever else, and the belly's full of snails. Here you go. Make sure you wrap these up. It never ends. That's why we all fly fish. We just kind of wonder what's going to happen next. I'm just wrapping this one up kind of the way I like to do it. It's not totally exactly what he had, but it works well, and I got this in size 10. You can go to 8s and 12s, no problem at all. I'm putting that copper mylar on the tail end of it here. I want that copper hue, and the coloration on this fly is critical, and the segmentation is also critical. I think it's a really good imitation. So I'm going to put some bone dry on the back there, just cook that up so it makes it stronger. Then I'll bring in a little bit of my 020 lead in here. I'll get my thread out of the way for now. I'm just going to kind of lead the center of this fly up a little bit. Give it about 10 turns. And we want a bit of a lump in the middle of it. And okay, now we got to come in here with, you want some really bronzy looking material, go to peacock hurl. There's nothing better. I'm going to tie that over the lead a little bit too. And come down around the corner. There's not quite enough. I want a pretty chunky body on this fly. I'm going to wrap it up, make sure you don't have any long, short ones in there. Tidy them all up. It's a real easy fly to tie. I'll tighten my waist a little bit. I had a different hook in there a minute ago. I'm coming around the corner just a little now. I'm going to add a couple strands of this black crystal flash. You're really not going to see it in the pattern, but it's going to help separate these ribs a lot. And if you're tying beetles, for example, I'd seen this, Mike Lawson showed me that years ago. And when you're doing beetles and so forth, take your peacock hurl and throw a strand or two of a crystal flash in there, pearl. That really looks good in there. And you can do green or whatever you want to add, just really works good. But we're going to do a rope, and you can twist that if you want. I'm going to do it with my Norvise, and that So we're going to get our segmentation coming forward. Getting a bit of a lump going there. It's kind of getting the shape of that snail I'm looking for. And it looks pretty easy to tie. It's not not the easiest fly I ever tie, but it don't look like much. But you're definitely going to be happy getting a few of these with you. And then I'll just bring in some little bit of this brown saddle. I don't need it too long for the legs. Coming in with our brown thread, kind of matches the legs up the front. Give it 3 turns, and then I'm going to take my thread behind the hackle, not at the eye. I'm taking it behind, and then I'll just get a turn here, and that'll kind of tie it back. Kind of pinch it back, and it just shows them little legs. You can go a little bigger hackle on that. Last one had a little bigger hackle. That looked even a little better than this one. Tie that off with your whip finish. Come in here, make sure again we got some resin on the front of this, or cement, whatever you use. And that should be bulletproof. It's a great little fly, and I'll tell you, whenever, don't be short of any of these snails in your box, and you're fishing in the fall, late fall, and there's going to be, fish will be just stuffed full of these. They're just on them. It's kind of like a water boatman hatch in the fall. If you don't have a boatman going on, forget it. You're just out for a boat ride and a lunch. So anyway, we thank you again for tuning in. We'll catch you again real soon.
Thanks to Brent Schlenker for bringing us this great fly. We appreciate seeing you again on Sports Fishing on the Fly. We have pro staff tying videos every week online. Check back often. Take care. And conserve our waters.